pure experiences.
Welcome to the Pure Experiences Podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Pure Experiences Online Satsang. There was some issues in the morning. We could not conduct a call in the afternoon. So I thought that probably we can fall back to our other times, which is 9 o'clock in the night. Let us see if people have time and if they can see the call. Some may be able to join, but as usual, there will be a recording of this Q&A session. Yes, sometimes we discuss the books, but right now there is nothing like this. We are going to do more questions and answers because most of the fundamentals, they have been covered, and it is mostly available in about 200 episodes of podcasts, many articles and some videos. So what I usually do, you must have seen that whenever there is a fundamental question, then I usually refer you to the previous recordings, because there is no point in repeating all that. As you know, in the old style of satsangs, when there were no recordings or people took a few notes in their private notebooks in their own language and handwriting, which nobody could understand, which were not good enough, and therefore the sessions were repeated frequently. So the same thing happened in every satsang, along with a little bit of song and dance and prayers. So that was a repetitive task. Now we are in the information age, so everything that I have said is already available. And there is a convenience factor there that you can listen to it whenever you want. And you need to join the Q&A only either if you're interested, like you want to spend some good time and be in the spiritual setting for a while, even though you don't have any questions, no problems. Or once you have listened to the fundamental knowledge, the transmission of knowledge, when you have listened to it already, after that you may get some doubts, some questions. And so Q&A session is the opportunity to clear them up once and forever. You can send me emails, you can send me questions, SMS, WhatsApp messages. That is everybody's most welcome, but that is not real time. So you send me an email, next day you get an answer, and then probably you wanted to ask something else, and so on, you see, and the mind loses track. So it is one-to-one discussion. That is why I prefer Q&A, and questions and answers are the formal way of transmission of knowledge on the path of knowledge. On the Advait path, or also in Buddhism, you will notice that all our books are Q&A sessions. all the Shastras, they are Q&A sessions, most of, including the Bhagavad Gita and the great Upanishads. Upanishads are nothing Q&A, isn't it? So only when there is stuti or there is a kind of invocations of gods and goddesses, then we get these poetry and songs like the Ved. But usually question and answer is a most effective means of transmission of knowledge. So usually people come to satsang just to listen what the person is saying. That is also good, because then the mind will start cooking things. If you don't even listen to what is being said, then probably there will never be any question. Never. This is a good topic to start, isn't it? Why don't people question their assumptions, their reality, their blind beliefs? Why don't they do that? And it is the nature of the mind, because it does not find a need to do that, so it does not do that. It is a machine, so it wants to conserve the energy. It does not want to work too much. This, you can say, a lazy mind, but This is also natural setting of the mind. Their default settings when it is born, they come with, do not question, do not try to learn too much. Get the things done somehow. Because your job is to survive. That's all. The mind's job when it is born is to survive and fulfill its desires. There is nothing else for it to do. So it goes into the depths of matter only when there is a need. Only when it is extremely necessary and required, we start searching for answer. Otherwise, we let it happen. We do not want to really know things in depth. So you will see it everywhere actually in your society that people want to do as little physical and mental work as possible. Most of the time they want to rest or they want to do something which they enjoy. Then it is not work. Then it is not kind of effort. For some people, I don't know why this happens, that they are extremely curious. They want to do the effort. They want to question everything. And they are not afraid of doing the hard work of knowing. And such people become seekers. And when they gain enough knowledge, they can share it with other seekers. Because it does not look like hard work. For example, I'm talking to you, I take out time. I take out a lot of time actually in order to research things, in order to learn things, in order to experiment and think about the various teachings and views of other people. And then I spend a lot of time discussing with everyone, recording these things, producing audios and videos and books and whatnot. I spend a lot of time and I spend a lot of money also. So this, I do not see it as a problem. I do not see it as a hard work. It is a pleasure. I get pleasure out of it. So very few people are born with this kind of capability, this kind of the jigyasu quality, which is a must for somebody who is on the path of knowledge. It must be, it is an essential quality. There must be an interest in knowing, otherwise no, please do not come on the path of knowledge. Try to make your life good, beautiful, happy. That's what we are here for. Knowledge and all these things are not really essential for a happy life. So that's what we see out there in the society. Very few people are interested and very few people devote time and effort to get the knowledge. The benefits they reap are enormous. This may look like an effort. This may look like that you are going against the natural tendency of the mind to do less work, but in the end, it actually makes the whole life effortless. It actually gives you the happiness and freedom for free. So try this out. Do not think that what is this knowledge going to do for me? It's going to do nothing at all. It's not there to do something. It is a means to be happy and free. That's what it will do. Which probably you think, no, the more efforts I do in the physical world through the body, probably I'll get more freedom and happiness. You will. There is no doubt about it. We all need to do a little bit of work on the physical level, but most of your happiness is generated in the mind. Most of the work that needs to be done is in the mind. So, and that is recommended. It is recommended as soon as possible. Get on the path of knowledge or any kind of spiritual path. In the long term, the benefits are immense. They are not going to last only for this life. They are forever. Life is forever. There is no death. There is no destruction. So I think Anil, as usual, has a question. He asks very good questions. I have a question about karma system. Does Jeev has individual karma or the karma are always universal? Karma can have a ripple effect in the universal mind. So why is it a belief that somebody who does bad karma always has to individually pay for it? Or a person with good karma will always get the goodness back? I don't see a balance in the ripples of karma. I feel karma are about the collective universal destiny of the whole. Well, it's a very good point. Very, very good point. So it probably looks like Anil has already done a lot of introspection, and I need not add in whatever he is saying. I need not add too much. So what I'll say, I agree 100%. People have a very odd belief about the theory of karma. And when I say theory, it is really a theory. It is a model of something that happens. You can explain the same thing using other ways. It is possible. The karma is based on the assumption of cause and effect. When you introspect deeply, you will find no cause, no effect. It is assumption in the mind. It is ignorance, our ignorance. Why there is no cause and effect? Why actually our actions are not caused, and why actually there is no fruit, there is no consequence. This is the deeper question, isn't it? This is the deeper question. If you understand this, if you understand that there is no cause really and there is no effect, then the whole theory of karma will be dissolved. Now what is there? Now what remains which will affect me if I am not doing anything? So this is the highest level. At the highest level, there is no karma, there is no cause, there is no effect, and you can see it. It is within our ability to see that there is no cause. Everything that happens is caused by everything else. I'm just giving you a pointer how to introspect about this cause and effect. Because if you say the thing A is caused by B, then it becomes necessary to find the cause of B. You can find a cause, obviously. It will be C. But now it becomes necessary to find the cause of C. That C cannot happen by itself without cause, because you're assuming that there must be a cause. And then you'll find D, and so on. It goes up to infinity. You can do this exercise, try to find the cause of anything exhaustively. Do not stop. Do not say, okay, I don't know beyond this, so probably I'll just stop. No, that is laziness. That means you don't want to think it through. So try to find the cause of anything. So you will find that there is infinite amount, and it takes whole of the universe to cause a little tiny event in this universe. Does that make any sense? No, it is totally nonsense. The whole theory of cause and effect it does not make any sense. Similarly, for the effects, what is the effect of an action? And you will see that the effects do not stop. Just like he said, it has a ripple effect. Do the ripples stop? No. They simply become weaker and weaker until they disappear from our perception. It means our perception has a limit. It means mind has a limit. It cannot see, after a while what effects it is producing, because it becomes so complicated. The web of effects is tangled so much that the mind gives up, and it says, okay, the effect is up to this only. But no, the effects never die. There is no end to the effect. And does it make any sense? No, obviously, again. So what is this cause and effect? Why did the mind invent this thing? At the highest level, you should throw away the cause and effect. And when you ask this question, then why do we, even entertain this idea of karmic things and all, that our actions produce consequences and all. So let me make it very, very clear. It is a theory. It is a model to explain things that happen in this universe. It is a very convenient model. It is not accurate. It is not truth. It is only a model. So once you, stop assuming it as truth, then you can see why it is there. It is there to explain to the mind the why question, WHY. Mind has a habit of asking why. So you come up with an answer because, and there is a cause in the because. It is because of this cause. It is due to something, and then the seeker is supplied with a knowledge that it happened, and therefore the resulting consequence happened. We assume like this, there is a cause of every action and there is an effect of every action. Not only for the human being, the cause and effect model, it, can be applied to machines, it can be applied to non-living things, it can be applied to animals, plants, whatever. Non-physical things, metaphysical things, you can apply anything. So the karmic model is the model of cause and effect applied to metaphysical things, non-physical things, to the mind itself. You can apply this model and see what happens, whether you get something. And sometimes it is useful. It is useful sometimes, because suppose you want to make a machine work, you must find out the relationship of causes and effects. Otherwise the machine you cannot even think about the machine, how it is going to work. So there it is very useful. So if you want to know something about the mind, how it works, you must model its working somehow. So that is the karmic theory. It is very effective. It is useful for answering the why question. That's all. It has no truth at all. So there is a belief, because it is not taught like this, because the gurus themselves, they think that it is right, it is true, there is a truth in it, so they teach it like as if it is true. You see, somebody great has said about something about karma, and then it is stamped as truth, and nobody actually goes and investigates the truth of it. We do it on the path of knowledge. As soon as there is a statement, the first thing we do, investigate the truth of it. Otherwise, you cannot say that you are on the path of knowledge. Otherwise, you will become something that the others are like. And there is no harm in it. For example, a yogi need not question the model of cause and effect, karmic models, because his practice is based on this theory being true. So he simply assumes it is true, and that the karma yoga is born. So yes, he will reap the fruits of this sadhana. If he is doing it nicely, there will be an effect on the mind, and yes, it can be useful. But if it is taught as if it is true, then probably it will stop the progress of that yogi at some point, because obviously not true. Then you will need to go beyond the karma, which on the path of knowledge we do on the first day. We do it on the first day. Look at yourself. Who are you? What is your essence? Is your essence doing anything? Is it causing anything? Isn't it just pure witness? Isn't it just consciousness of all the karmic stuff, of all the causes and effect? This is your essence. This is you. Is it being affected by something? Is it being affected by the pictures it is seeing, the illusory pictures it is witnessing? Is it affected by that? You will say, no, very pure. It is like sky, where things are happening, thunder and clouds and rain, but the sky is never affected. So once you shift your identity to the ultimate, which is the self with capital S, which is everything actually, the Atman is the Brahman, then you will find that no, there is no cause, there is no effect. Nothing is being caused, nothing is being affected, and you are free. You are above karma now. Now the important thing is to see this. You cannot simply believe me. Do not blindly believe anybody. You need to see it. Yes, this is my nature. It is really not being affected. It is really not causing, just witnessing. Now the mind will come up with all kinds of questions. Why this is happening, then why it is witnessing, and then your job is to silence the mind by properly answering. And how to properly answer? Always take your mind back to the experience, back to the direct experience. So you can ask, why should I assume the why? Why should I assume a cause for everything? Is it necessary that everything must have a cause? Is it necessary that everything must produce an effect? And you will get no answer. You will get silence as the answer, which means whatever thinking was going on in the mind is completely useless. It is just made up stuff in the mind. So if you take one step into the ignorance, then you can deal with karma. And one thing you will find about the karma is that there is no good karma. There is no good action. And there is no bad action also. Actions are, and the effects are. This is just one step into the theory. If you take 2 steps into ignorance, assume more things, because for the mind, well, It has some agenda, isn't it? It has some desires. It wants to fulfill some desires, and therefore it acts. Otherwise, why will it act? The desire is the motivation, is the motivating force for action. You see, that's why the karma is equal to sanskar, because sanskar produces the karma through the body, through the mind, through the speech, through the karmendriya, the organs of actions. There are many. So there is always a desire behind the action, the manifested action. And as soon as there is desire, we say the karma is already done, isn't it? You must have heard this. As soon as the mind has acted, it is done. So we need to take another step into the ignorance and see that some actions are going to fulfill my desire, some are not, and therefore we classify it as good or bad depending on what is my desire. You can get into the details of it if you want. So for everybody there will be a different good karma, and for everybody there will be a different bad karma. For example, you have gold and I want it. Just, very crude example. So what do? I go and kill you and steal the gold because it is going to fulfill my desire. So isn't that good karma? Isn't that a good action? Because now I'm rich, you see. From my point of view, it was good. I got the good fruits. And from your point of view, very bad. Very, very bad, you see. And you will think, why did I get this kind of fruit? And there is a little bit of ignorance in the minds of ordinary people who do not go into the depths of this theory that doing good is going to do good. No, it is not going to do that. And doing bad, the bad will come and grab you. No, it is not going to do that also. Listen it from the point of view of a Jnani. Listen to it carefully from the point of view of somebody who knows. And then you can destroy your beliefs about the karma. No, it is not like this. The goodness, badness, they are relative. There is no truth in that. There is no absolute good. There is no absolute bad. Remember this thing. No, the good things will produce a consequence. Whatever you think is good, going to produce a consequence. Whatever you think is bad is going to produce a consequence. Now, whatever is the consequence, if it is according to your desires, it is you are going to label it, stamp it as good. If it is not according to your desires, you're going to stamp it as bad. Something bad happened. I got a bad fruit. So this will explain these conundrum in the minds of people who believe in karma and such things. Why I do good for everybody. I never done anything bad. I've never spoken lies. I've never acted violently in my life. Never spoken even the words of violence, even once. Why bad things are happening to me? Isn't it? This is the very common question. Why? Even if I do good, nothing good happens to me. And look at those people who are doing the unethical things and they are just enjoying their life tremendously. You will see this kind of complaint from people. And this explains it. Don't try to judge the consequences from your little tiny point of view. It's not. It is universal. Yes. The whole produces the cause and the whole gets the consequences. Even if you do something good, the consequence can be bad. Even if you do something bad, the consequences can be good. And the consequences are not in our control. Do whatever you want. They are not in the control of the individual. Why? Simply because there is no individual. Simply because there is nobody to control them. It is an illusion that I am the doer. The karta bhav. I am not the doer. The I am is the witness. If you want to call it, there is no doer, I am. And therefore, there is no control. Therefore, whatever happens, happens according to the laws of the karma. Not according to my wishes. Not according to what I control. No. The control is an illusion. This brings us to, another topic which is very complicated. So I'm not going to say anything about it. We think that there is somebody who is controlling my actions. No, there is no free will. There is no will at all. So you will need to get into the depths of it. If you have any question, if you strongly believe that no, I control everything that I do, then just let me know. I'm always ready to get into the depths of it, to show you through the direct experience that no, there is no individual, it does not do anything, it does not control anything. Therefore, whatever actions happen through this instrument of the body-mind, their consequences cannot be controlled. No matter what you wish, that which happens is according to the laws of the mind, which are also known as the karmic laws. And what will happen, nobody knows. So he is saying, Anil is now entering the topic of control. We have slight control over our karmendriyas, bit of a free will to engage with the universal mind, but we seem to have no control over the whole. What really decides the destiny of the Jeev really? Is it just random? So another very good question. That slight control that you're talking about is an illusion. And yes, we do have. We can intervene when the desire to act appears. We can intervene and stop the desire from being activated through the body, mind, the organs of action. And why is it that? How come we have this ability? And if you investigate, you will find that it is another sanskar. It is a sanskar that has been put by some other event. So since the desires appear, let us not go into the cause of the desire. It is some other experience that has become an impression. That impression is causing a desire. For example, my last meal gave me a pleasure, and it is now impressed on the mind. The mind knows that, yes, this action is going to give me more pleasure. This is the tendency of the mind. So a desire to eat, again, the same thing appears. But you see, I can now control. I can say, no, I won't eat that thing. I'll eat something else. And what is that? It is another sanskar. It is another impression which, becomes stronger than the previous desire. That's all happens. It is mechanical. And then the ego, the ahankar comes up, the thought comes that I stopped the desire and I chose something else. So the mind is very a fancy thing. It is very complex thing. You see, don't underestimate the mind. I keep saying it is a machine, but it is absolutely, gorgeous, very complex. But it is the biggest thing in the world. The mind is not simple machine. So yes, it looks like that it is done by me because I can either start an action, I can stop an action. It is just another impression that is governing the action now, and that impression is because of my previous experience. That's all. So you will see this in children, that they need to be told to stop. They don't have this instinct when to stop, how to choose. They learn it by themselves, trial and error, pleasure and pain, reward and punishment, or it is the duty, it is the teaching of their parents. Do not do this, otherwise you will get this, and then this becomes an impression. Do not touch the hot cup, you will get burnt, and this becomes an impression. And if there is nobody to teach the child, then the mother nature teaches, burns the hand, and the child is never going to touch the hot cup again. So this is kind of it looks like that there is a control mechanism there, but it is exactly that. It is a mechanism. You can refine it very, very much, and then the illusion of free will comes like this. So if there are hundreds of impressions on the mind, then obviously it looks like, there is freedom, because so many choices now. There are so many choices. Freedom is another name for choices. Why are there choices? Because there are so many impressions now. The mind has matured a little bit. It has many, many impressions. It knows very clearly which choice will lead to which consequence. Hopefully, it has learned. This is the linear mode of thinking, and then chooses the best one that it thinks will fulfill my desire. So if you pay attention, it is a very complex mechanism. That's all it is. And the control is also complex mechanism, and the will is not the will of the individual. It arises out of the impressions. And you can do experiments to check it. Like a very good experiment is to do something which you have never done before, to think something which you have never thought before, to imagine something which you have never seen, and you will find that it is impossible. It must be there somewhere in the memory, and you can pull it out. You can pull something new out of the memory, and you will find it is a mix and match. What you think is new is actually a mixture of the old. That is how the artist creates it. The artist is going to take his impressions of the past, all the old impressions, mixes them in a creative way. You can say he's creating, but not creating, simply mixing, and then produces a work of art which looks like new because we have never seen this before. And then kind of it is a kind of illusion that we can create. No, we cannot create anything. We can only put together certain choices and slap them together. It becomes a creation. And that which creates is the universal mind. The mother nature creates, and the human copies. So yes, whatever control we do seem to have is useful for survival, is useful for functioning in the world. And we should never say that I don't have control, I am not responsible, because this is not good for survival. Not good for society, not good for a functioning individual and functioning society. So we allow it, as an ignorance. That is the fourth step or fifth step into the land of ignorance, but that's not true. So whenever you get this doubt that I have the free will or I have control, you will need to simply investigate from where this thing is coming, you see, and you will find a cause there. And then you try to find the cause of the cause, and so on. Then you will come to this conclusion that I just said. There's no cause there. Yes, and just like he said, we seem to have no control over the whole. That is a translation of the words that there is no control over the consequences. The fruits are not in our control. So the whole decides what will happen. He is asking what really decides the destiny of the Jeev. The whole decides. It is not random. No, you cannot say it is random, because it is causeless but not random. It is bound by the laws of the mind. There is a difference between causal and random. The non-caused thing can appear very structured, very well organized. It is possible. But a random event is not structured. There is no meaning in that event. Nothing. So let me give you an example. How random things are, and how non-causal, causal things are. So take a bag of grain, rice or wheat or anything, just very fine grains. You can take sand also, and take it in a container and pour it on the floor, you see. So on a cloth maybe, so that it does not scatter around too much. And what do you get? You get a very nice pile of the grains or sand. There is a name for that. It is called a Gaussian distribution. Those who know the physics and information technology. It is after the famous scientist Gauss. So Gaussian distribution. It is perfectly mathematical. It has statistical properties, and this is also called the bell curve, for example. So it is everywhere in the nature. What causes it? Can anybody guess? Nothing causes it. It is an outcome. This perfect shape, perfectly mathematical 3D curve is a consequence of necessity, we say, because nothing designed it, isn't it? Nothing caused it. How can simply pouring random grains of sand can produce this structure? Is it possible? Well, it just happened in front of your eyes, isn't it? Don't need to do it. You can simply imagine, thought experiment, a very valid thing, a very valid way of experimenting like this in your thoughts, in your mind. It is not wrong. It will, in your mind also, it is going to produce the exactly same distribution. This is non-caused, non-random event. How many people think like this? Very few, you see. Only the crazy scientists and philosophers think about these things. But don't worry, it is going to give you this insight that without cause does not mean random. Remember this, bottom line. If it is not cause, does not mean that it's going to be random. No. Now, what is random? You see, take the grains and just throw them. Instead of pouring them, throw them on the floor, and then you will not get any structure. Every time you throw, it will be a different structure, different distribution on the floor. It is meaningless. There are no relations. You cannot draw any relations between them. That is random. So our destinies, the destiny of the mind, the path of the mind is not random, but it is not caused. The whole decides what it will become. Predestined. That's just like we say. Because you see, even if it is not causal, it can be predestined. Once the path is taken, it is almost predestined. What will it become? That is known beforehand. Why do we do not really know the exact events? Well, there is because we do not know all the causes. The mind functions upon extrapolation of causes and its effects. You need to know all the causes in order to predict what will happen next. And since it is beyond mind to know everything in the universal mind, it cannot really predict. It can guess a little bit. That is why we say, drive slowly, otherwise there can be an accident. Because prediction. But, accidents happen. Even if you drive at the speed of 10 kilometers per hour, somebody else will come and hit you. So it is possible. So it is a kind of linear thinking of the mind. The mind thinks that I can predict things if I know enough causes. But no, the reality is not like this. And it is also not random. Otherwise, there won't be any experience. What is a random experience? No experience. It does not register in the mind. It does not register in the memory. Only if there is a structure, it gets registered. So I hope the highly technical answers, but now you will never have any question about this. I can give you theories after theories of everything, but it is going to cause a lot of questions. I can say that it is already written that you will become this and that, or it is already written that your actions are going to produce this kind of effect. Then there will be many questions, like why, and why is why this is going to happen, or how do you know? And there will be another question, which is very, very popular question, that how do I change these things which are going to happen, which you have told me? And you see, it goes into a deeper pit of ignorance, if I say it like this. Therefore, whenever these questions come up, like whether whatever is going to happen is predestined or not, whether I can change it, and then I need to take a very diplomatic view. I say I give you very mysterious answers, very diplomatic answers. We have done this on our Q&A sessions. I forgot his name, but there was 1 hour long discussion on deterministic and whether I can change it or not. So if you want to change it, then you will need to throw away the theory of predestination. You will need to throw away the theory of causes and effects, because if one cause causes something specific, that means not possible to change it. If you say I have free will, I can change the things which are going to happen, that means there is no cause, there is no causality, because free will means what? Caused by nothing, isn't it? Freedom of willing means that if something intervenes, which is the individual, the person, the invisible person, the ghost in the machine, comes and stops things or starts a new thing, new event, and then you will need to throw away the theory of causality, because people can object, you see. How come the will is causeless but events are caused? It's not possible, you see. How can you arbitrarily assign laws to anything? It's not possible. So if you want, think about it, but you need to correlate it with your direct experiences, there is no such thing. You see, there is no such thing. So at some point it goes beyond the limits of the mind, and we say it is unknowable. That which happens is unknowable. That which is going to happen is also unknowable. Actually, I'll go one step ahead and I'll say that which happened is also unknowable, because it depends on how reliable your memory is. So Gyani will say that nothing really happened. Why are you asking these questions? Remember, nothing really happens. It only appears to happen. And just because it is regular, just because it has a pattern in it, does not mean that somebody is doing it, somebody is causing it, or there are kind of causal chains of those events. And that does not mean that it can be extended into future, like, plot ahead, extrapolation. And no, that is all wrong thinking. That is all assumptions. But however, because it is useful, this model of past, present and future is very useful, we employ it. Since some things are regular, you must have noticed. Some things happen very regularly, like the sun comes up every day, although it is not guaranteed, you see. No law says that the sun will come up tomorrow, but since it is doing this, high chance, 99.999% probability that it will come up tomorrow. And so we plan for tomorrow. I'll go there, I'll go to my office, I'll, get these things done, I'll buy food and everything related to survival, you see. So this is very, very convenient model for surviving. The model of past, present and future. And this is reflected in our language. Our languages are survival based. They are not knowledge based. So think about it. If it is false, does not mean that it is useless. Yeah, I said something important. If it is false, does not mean that it is useless. It can have use. The use is survival. That is why the mind creates all these things. It is only for survival. Can it change? How can it change that which is false? Tell me. Some people ask this question, I need to change my future. I need to evolve in a particular direction. No, it's not possible. There is a fundamental error behind these questions. The fundamental error is assumptions that there is causation. Second assumption that I have the will, I have the power to change. Both are false. So how does that question make any sense? No, it does not. However, from the point of view of ignorance, if you allow a little bit of ignorance, there are answers. And usually the guru will judge you a little bit whether you can understand this or not. And if you cannot, then he is going to give you some sugar-coated teaching like, yes, you have the free will. You have power to change your destiny. Look how I have changed. I have become free. I have come out of the ignorance, and so can you. And this is the spiritual type. But there are people who do the self-help kind of thing, like, I have this addiction, I'm in a bad relation, now I want to change. Yes, you have the power, you can change it, they will say. Yes, this is the cause, it is happening because of this. It is happening because of this behavior of yours. Change the behavior, and so on. And the person, goes happy because the problem is solved. Survival is a little bit smoother now. It is useful sometimes, like a placebo. It works. So never underestimate the creations of the mind. It is all false, but sometimes very useful. Those who are after practical utility, they may want to get into the details of how the karmic stuff works. It is very complicated. Sometimes. And those who are after the truth, they need to simply see it once that no, it does not make any sense, and then drop it. Drop the whole causality. It is not true. And that's how we get free. That's how we are freed from the karma. There is no other way to be free from the karma. Karma bandhan mukti, a big word in our Eastern traditions, how to be free from the karma. It is the realization that there is no karma. There is no other freedom except this. And then the business of the world, the business of the Maya, illusion, it can continue as it is. What is wrong? What is wrong in that? What is wrong in actions and their consequences? Nothing wrong. So I hope this answers the question, and get into the details of it, get into the depths of it. Question the question. If there is a question, then you will need to find out, investigate the meaning behind the words that are being used in the question. That is how we progress towards the source. That is how we progress towards. It is like, taking backward steps. You know what I mean? That there is no forward step in the path of knowledge. It's all backwards. So you go back to the source from where all this ignorance is coming from. And one by one, your concepts will stop dropping. The knowledge is always a knowledge that, this idea was wrong, that concept was wrong, this does not make any sense, that assumption is totally useless. This is the knowledge. That means cutting off, lighter. So this is the path of knowledge. If you are going forward, that means something is wrong. And sometimes you will need to go forward also, only to see that there is these things do not make any sense. Then you come back. So usually I do that. Somebody gives me a statement, and I need to go a few steps forward there. Let me see how it works. And if it starts breaking, because if you investigate the falls, you will find that it cracks up. It does not stay. It's not stable. And so that is how we know that no, this is not the direction. I need to go back. This is how we know. So a little bit of experiments, a little bit of thought experiments, a little bit of intuition and logical, rational thinking will get rid of all this ignorance. Anil has something to say. Let's take his question first. Since there is no ultimate free will for the Jeev within the Maya, what is really there for the Jeev to do here really? Just watch the Leela unfold, have some popcorn. Or there is some insight about the reason the Jeev has bound itself within such deep uncertainty. So as I was reading your question, the answer appeared, and the answer is very simple. It depends on the level of ignorance the Jeev is under. Depends on his agyan, depends on his avidya. So those who are free, enlightened, mukt, jivan mukt, they can simply have some popcorn, watch it. It is entertaining mildly in some ways. You can watch it, but most people won't. They want to dissolve. They don't want to have an experience again. That is the last desire. So, but some may want to go ahead and see whatever is happening while remaining totally aloof, while remaining untouched by what is happening. They are beyond the experience. They are now totally established in the experiencer. There is no effort there to do anything. There is no will there because, everything is seen as it is. So what remains to do? Just witness what is unfolding. So that is for people who have realized their true nature. They do nothing. Anyway, you see, you are doing nothing already. You see, you need to only realize that I am the witness, which is just watching the Leela. So Papaji used to say that keep quiet. Papaji is a disciple of Raman Maharshi, and he used this word, keep quiet. When there is nothing to do, what else you will do? You will just witness. Now, if there is an ignorance in the Jeev, in the mind, you see, the Jeev you can roughly translate it as mind, then it will appear as a desire. The ignorance appears as a desire, and then actions happen. So those who have ignorance, they must do something. They must do the effort to come out of the ignorance. They must do the investigation. They must do the self-inquiry. Or if you're on the other paths, you must do the sadhana. On the karma yoga, you must do the perfect action as taught by the karma yogis. On the path of shaktis, you must do the asanas and kriyas. And then the mind hopefully will get the experiences. We will learn through the experiences. and so on. Depends on the ignorance. What if the Jeev is totally under ignorance, totally under the spell of Maya, that is, not even on any kind of path, not on any spiritual path. That is the worldly person, sansaric, prani, and for them it will be a dualistic experience. That means there will be actions and there will be consequences. They need to do that, and always follow that, always do that which brings happiness and freedom. This is the thumb rule when you are in total ignorance. Always follow that, always do that which brings more happiness and freedom. And in long term, not only short term, long term. So use your intellect. Usually the intellect is not totally dead for such people. And there is a difference between being intelligent and being wise, being spiritual. There is a difference. The spiritual person knows what he is doing, and the intelligent person knows how to do it. There is no other difference, you see. You can make a bomb to mine the earth, find the metals in the earth. You blast the earth and dig a hole in the earth. And you can use the same technology, same knowledge, to destroy the cities, buildings, and kill the people. Both are the actions of an intelligent mind. Knows how to do things, isn't it? But one is unwise and one is wise. Which one? That you can decide. So wisdom is knowing what not to do. Somebody has said this, somebody great. Why I should not do something. Intelligence is simply knowing how to do it, how to be effective. So it is unfortunate that those who are worldly, they have a lot of intelligence. They are very successful in the world, but almost zero knowledge, zero wisdom. So for such people, follow the bliss, follow the happiness and freedom. So it will produce the optimal results. What does it do actually? Your actions will produce a consequence which is not in your control, but the laws of the mind are very clear about this. The laws say that the consequence will be always such that it produces a lesson for the one who is saying, I am the doer. It is always such that. If you say, I am the doer, then yes, then the consequences are also for you. You will need to throw away the whole doership in order to be free from the consequences. If you say, I am the doer, and the consequences, they are not mine, then it's not going to work, you see. And if you say, oh, I'm not the doer, but I'm going to get the fruits of my actions, no, it's not going to work like this, you see. Throw away the whole thing or adopt the whole thing. If you are taking responsibility of your actions, then take the responsibility of the consequences of the actions. There's nothing bad in that. What it does is you get the lesson. The mind gets a lesson. What to do, what not to do. What is the lesson? These actions, they produce happiness most of the time. These actions, they produce the freedom. And those actions produce misery, suffering, and bondage. Not only for me, for others. You can see those who are growing a little bit, those who are surpassing their intelligence will start seeing that there is no such thing as my happiness. The happiness and freedom is not for the individual. I'll give you an example, a small example. Let us say you believe that a lot of money is going to make you happy, which is true actually. It will make you survive, and so the body will produce the pleasure which you think is happiness, and you get a lot of money at the cost of others, at the cost of destruction of the environment and destruction of the lives of the others. So now the result is you have a lot of money and everybody else is very, very poor, and the environment is destroyed, and you take the control of everything. What will happen if you take a really even a slightly bigger view of bigger picture? There is one point in the center which is happy, and around it for 1,000 miles there is misery. So how long is it going to last? Someday somebody will rise from those unfortunate people in pain and will kill you, or will take away whatever you have accumulated, or will make your life miserable. Something will happen, you see. Even if this does not happen, well, It always produces bad consequences because you are ignoring the whole. And you will find that if you are in a country where most of the people are equally prosperous, almost, except a few, but the society is equally prosperous, where you don't even need to lock your house, you will find you will gain peace of mind, you will gain freedom, and you will get more happiness. That happiness has a higher quality than this selfish happiness, which was in your old country or the old age and the old era. It's a small example, but those who are waking up will see. So go towards the bigger happiness, go towards the bigger freedom. So some people, they cannot even understand this much. So, and the teaching is follow the happiness and freedom. That is the path that the Jeev must do. That is what is there to do. Do your actions with perfection, which means bring the actions that bring more and more happiness and freedom. Then the laws of the mind that take care of the evolution of the Jeev. And once it becomes a little bit mature, then it will start questioning. The first question is usually, what am I doing with my life? What is the meaning of life? What is my purpose here? Why was I born? And I produced a series on this thing, which is titled Spirituality for the Beginners. And if you're interested, you can listen to that. Very interesting. And it is for, total beginners, total newbies, like who know nothing about this thing. And usually the total beginner starts with these questions. Meaning of life and what am I doing here? That means the eyes are opening a little bit, a little bit of light is getting in. And usually the result of these questions is they will start searching. Now they are interested in taking a path. They are interested in growing. That is when the Guru catches hold of that person. That is the ideal person. That is the ideal student to have. Who is willing to explore, who has a question. Then the Guru appears, because now it is the right time. So once that starts happening, you will be given something to do. Don't worry, you're not free from the doership yet. So the Guru will give you something to do, and it is a practice according to your tendencies, what you like and how grown up you are, your kind of past life tendencies that you accumulated. And the Guru knows this, just take a look at the person and evaluates the student, will give you a lifestyle to follow. And if you are a good student, probably in few lifetimes, there will be more growth. And finally, the knowledge comes that, this was all a play. And then you sit back and relax. And then the final is dissolution of the individual. There is no individual. Final also, no individual. There is no individual right now also. It is all ignorance. So the answer is very simple, but the explanation is very long, you see. The answer is you do that which your ignorance tells you to do. Not knowledge. There is no knowledge, remember. Ignorance. Accumulation is ignorance. So it depends on what you accumulated, you do that. Depending on that, you will be given something to do. For somebody who is free, his doing is equal to non-doing, because there is no doer, so it is totally meaningless to talk about the karma or the action of a liberated person. So that's why we have this saying that the Jivan Mukta has no karma and he does nothing affects him. So it is kind of illuminating. These formulas, they have very deep meaning. They should not be taken on blind faith. Someday I'm going to become free and then I'll need to do nothing. No, this is stupidity, isn't it? The Jivan Mukta is also doing that which an ordinary ignorant person is doing. You can see it. Only that the ignorance is absent. There is ignorance here that I am the doer. For a free person, liberated person, ignorance is not there. So, yes, it is amazing. There is another question, I think. And is there some reason the Jiva has bound itself within such deep uncertainty? You mean, probably by uncertainty, you mean not knowing what to do, isn't it? We are born with this ignorance of very age-old ignorance. We don't know what to do, isn't it? So we accumulate more we accumulate the ideas from the society, who, incidentally, society does not know what to do also. So we copy the people, and we do the things they are doing. You see, everybody is going to gym, we are also going to gym. Everybody wants to have more money, we also want more money. Everybody wants car, I also want car, and so on. So the society is a place which will keep you bound. Collective ignorance, because we are not born with a goal. Very few people, and such people are always kind of confused, because they don't know. They know that they are not born here to do these stupid things which others are doing. You accept probably the minimal that is needed for survival, but not beyond that, not beyond the absolute necessary. They know, but still ignorance is there. Then what? And they, go from one place to another, one temple to another, one ashram to another, and they can't find it, because what they are looking for is happiness and freedom. You cannot find it outside. So the search will end only when you encounter a guru who has found it. An enlightened master will liberate you. So there is a reason, and that the Jeev got bound, and it has got bound because the proper teaching is absent in the experiences of the Jeev. It is born innocent when this mind starts, since I don't know how old this must be, millions and millions of years old, this individuated mind, the Jeev, when it starts innocent. It is simply a creation appearing. And then the memory appears, and the nature of the memory is accumulation. It gets impressed by things, and it is not mature enough to even understand what is liberation and all. So whatever gets impressed is its life, and that is what determines its future. I'm now talking from in the language of ignorance. So there is a future for such a mind, because there are impressions, they are going to cause something. And there is no liberation unless this automatic, this mechanical wheel, the machine that has started now, stops. There is no liberation. So the vritti, as a wheel means vritti, once it starts, it will push the Jeev into ignorance. There is nothing else. Mind does nothing except create more and more ignorance, because its nature is to accumulate. Does not want to let go of anything. The Jeev is an accumulation of experiences. That's all it is. Otherwise, there won't be any Jeev. Otherwise, there would be a pure blank consciousness with no contents. The Nirvikalp Nirgun Brahman will be there. Since this is not there for some reason, see, there is something instead of nothing. There is an experience. And the direction of the experience is like this, that it will be more and more and more and more instead of less. So that naturally pushes the Jeev or the mind into ignorance, because it is trying to be more instead of less. So once it is also natural. There is nothing wrong in that. But as soon as it becomes so much that produces confusion, frustration, or suffering, then it is time to let go. Then it is time to cut the accumulations, cut them down to minimum, where there is optimal amount of happiness and freedom. Because there has to be somebody to experience the happiness and freedom, isn't it? Otherwise, that is also not there. So there is first the phase of growth, and then accumulations, they will start dropping. That is what is known in the karmic theory as destruction of karma. What have you accumulated is the karma, result of your actions and experiences. Once you encounter a guru, that means at that point the decline of the karmic stuff has started. The guru is hacking away, cutting away that which was accumulated, and that he will, if the guru is very good, experienced person, a real hacker, then he will go for the seeds of the karma. He will enter the mind of the student and burn the seeds of the actions, which is nothing but desires. You see, desires produce the karma. So he will cut the action at the root, which you can do it yourself. I've already discussed this in great detail on the desire management in the part 4, how to do that. Even before the desire appears, you can cut it down. So what that does is accelerates the evolution of the Jeev. What is evolution? It is freeing from the accumulation. So this is the proper spiritual path. This is, now the person is growing really fast. The Jeev is growing very, very fast. Not naturally. Naturally it will grow. Naturally all are actually destined to become free and liberated. There is not even one Jeev which will be left. But the speed is the problem. Some get recycled so many times that is kind of unfortunate. So the quest of a spiritual seeker is to get out of this mess as soon as possible. Somebody asked me in one of the sessions that if there is no time, then if all there is, eternal infinity, then what is the hurry? Why do you want to do it quickly? And the answer is also very simple. You see, do not mix the teachings of the absolute with the relative. Do not do that. Otherwise, there will be such questions. Otherwise, there will be confusion. So yes, there is no time. We all are liberated already. We all are the eternal empty consciousness. There is nothing there to liberate from. There is no bondage. There is no accumulation. However, for those who are in the ignorance, there is time. There is suffering. They don't like it. So don't tell this to the person who is trying to reduce the karmic load that there is no time, don't do it. Because first they will become very, very angry at you. And second, they don't understand this thing. Even for a Jnani, there is karma. As long as there is body, there is this torrent of desires, there will be consequences, there will be all this. But now the mind has taken care of this business. It is burning the seeds very rapidly, actually. So those without knowledge, even it is not possible to start the karma yoga. Also, you need to know even this much, that this how to burn the seeds, and when the accumulations they stop dropping, or more accurately, the disidentification start happening with whatever was accumulated, and the freedom begins. The happiness begins. The freedom turns into liberation, the happiness turns into bliss, and the realization is that I was always this. Why did I even venture into all this mess of karma and action and whatnot? That is what a Jnani has already realized. So, in the question of ignorance is as old as the question of knowledge. The ignorance started as soon as the knowledge started, and the knowledge started as soon as there was the ignorance, and it is all illusion. It never really happened. So there is this answer. It's beautiful, isn't it? And it is ridiculous. It's a joke. It's a funny thing to know. So probably it was Osho or somebody who said that when I got the self-realization, whatever words he used, like enlightenment or what, he said, I laughed for many days and people thought that I became crazy. This is in one of his recordings on YouTube. You will find it. Very entertaining talk. He said that I was so serious before that. Always very serious about everything in my life. And if I could not get up, he had this habit of getting up in the morning, 3:30, 4:30, whatever, and do his practices or something. And he said, one day I was sick and I could not get up. I had fever. And I was so kind of angry at myself and the whole universe and my parents and all, that I'm not able to do this and all. Then I just ran into jungle and I sat there for many days. I spent there, and one day, something happened, something changed. He remembered his real nature and started laughing because it's a joke, isn't it? And then he came back, ate, and from next day, no sadhana, no pranayam, no yoga, no getting up in the morning, and no prayers, nothing. And his parents were totally kind of confused. What happened to my son? Why he is behaving in a strange way? He was crazy before, but now he appears to be, totally gone. it is the advanced stage probably. So what happened was there was ignorance, and so in ignorance we take everything very, very seriously, and in knowledge there is no seriousness. The person is going to appear crazy, you see. These people who are said to be liberated, they are always laughing or they behave in a crazy way. Their behavior is beyond understanding of an ordinary person. You see, he eats sometimes, does not eat sometimes. Sometimes he goes for shopping and, shops like crazy, but sometimes he is wearing all those 10-year-old clothes, and sometimes he wants the silly things like toys or something, and sometimes even if you present him with a big thing like a car or something, he rejects it, does not want it. And what is this? What kind of behavior is this? So these behaviors are of a liberated person. There are no karmic seeds there. There is no bondage there. So free to do anything he wants, and there is total awareness, there is total consciousness behind these seemingly mad activities. There is only one difference between the mad person and a liberated person, and that is awareness. The mad person, the awareness is 0, and the aware person, the awareness is 100%. So in between, we have seriousness. Now look at the seriousness of a materialistic person who is totally in ignorance. You can only laugh at what they do, isn't it? You can rightly call them crazy. That is the dangerous point, isn't it? Because he thinks that everything, all my actions are real, the world is real, and the consequences are real. So I must be very, very serious about everything. So they are trapped. So the consequences are also very, very serious. You can see that they suffer a lot. They're always in the fear of something bad happening. Even those who have everything set up nicely under their full control, look, they need 20 guards around them to prevent something bad happening. They have this fear, isn't it? So this is craziness of the social kind, which is accepted madness. Socially accepted madness is called civilized behavior, is called culture. Now let's not go too much, I don't want to discourage you. Don't start doing crazy things. It is necessary for good life, and good life is necessary for spiritual progress. So that's why sometimes I also say, if you're not serious about knowledge, you won't progress. What does that mean? Become serious, become angry because you could not attain the satsang, something like this. Angry because your guru is not entertaining you. No, not that serious. Serious means a childlike curiosity, always after knowledge. Take it as fun. Take it as, if you're not enjoying it, then it's not your path. Like Osho said, if you know the joke, you're already free. So are there any more questions? Because it's probably bedtime for people. So he's asking, why is it so hard to discard the doership? Okay, can you tell me what is hard in that? I mean, is it coming back again and again and again? Or you cannot understand there is no doer? I mean, what is really hard? Because there is no process, isn't it? There's nothing to be done to let go of the doership. Yes, see, Anil has the answer. There is no doership, and there is always doing. So the question of it being hard or easy does not even arise. You see, it would be hard if there were a doership and then you are trying to discard it or get rid of it. It would be very, very hard, isn't it? Or it would be easy. But if it is not there, then how can it be hard or easy? So Ajay, if Ajay is listening, let me know. I mean, what is happening really? I think he'll disconnected. Okay, we will wait for him to come back. Yes, Anil is saying that in my experience, the doership is mostly bound by some sort of attachment, something you are afraid of. Yes, directly related to ignorance. The more ignorance there is, the more sense of doership will be there. And it means that attack your ignorance. Do not try to be free from doership. There is no such thing. You cannot be free from doing. You need to attack the ignorance. So yes, Ajay is back now. What do you find so hard here? Because it's not there. It's not a question of hard. He's saying, I have to be aware of this knowledge all the time that there is know me as a doer. Is that hard? The thing is, if you force your mind to recall again and again and again that there is no doer, then it will become hard. That is unnatural. So there is no doer, you know it for sure, and then do whatever you are doing. You see? Then plunge into the doership. There is no harm, because in the back of your mind, you already know that nobody is doing these things. The actions are happening, and the doer appears as the owner of that action. There is nothing wrong now. It can appear, let it appear. You see, what is wrong in that? There's nothing wrong in doing or doership as long as you know that there is no doer. What is wrong is that people do things, they don't want to take the responsibility of their action, and they also say that I did it, and that mess. What should I do next? And so on, and the self-pity and the self-victim mentality. Now I'm suffering because of my actions, and these things, that is this madness, that is not desirable, isn't it? And doership, okay, fine, there's no problem. And telling yourself again and again, no, I'm not the doer, there is no I, there is no, that is hard. That is unnatural. You know, once you establish it through your direct experience that no, things are happening, and the doer is one of the event that happens in the mind. You see, things happen and the doer appears, and the ahankar, the process of ahankar, creates the individual, the one who did it, and establish it as your knowledge. Once you know this much, you don't need to do more than that. You're free from the doer now. Now the actions will happen, and you will find that if you're aware all the time, whatever action is happening, you will find that you will be freed from the consequences. That does not mean that the consequences won't happen. It is not possible. You say you are in the Maya right now. There will be consequence, but they will not bite you. There will be a background of peace in your mind, because that is your knowledge now. That is your way of being. If you remember, practice, it will be hard. And initially you may need to do it for a few days, few months, few years. So do it, do whatever works for you. But it is kind of, if you want to live like this, that I am not the doer, then it's going to be a problem. It is going to be an unnatural way. So do and take the responsibility, fully knowing that no doer, no responsibility. You are free, fully knowing this. You need to do it. That is more natural. That is how it is supposed to be. I'll give you an example of an actor in the movies. You see, let us say he's got a role of villain. Then he gets into the role totally. Says the bad things, does the bad things, kills people. So with full awareness that I have to do this, my part, my role in the movie, he does it. And the movie ends and he is free from all the doing in the movie. Did he do it? No. There was acting, but there was no villain. Same thing. Once you see that you are already liberated, whatever you have done is gone. It is just acting. It is not doing. Yes, like Anil said, non-attachment. If the actor remains attached to his role, what do you call him? We call him stupid actor, isn't it? He went too far into the role, we say. He is doing the same things in his real life also. That means he needs some kind of mental treatment now. But those who know that I am only acting, this body mind is acting, it's karmic stuff, they are already free. They don't need to do anything about the doership, because it's already not there. And if you are playing the role, then do it completely immerse yourself in the actor, in the role, become the good actor, and that is all this is. It is a play. So why not play? As long as you have the body mind, are you free from actions? No. So do the right action, do the perfect action, make it any action you want, you see. Those who are free from doership, they can do anything, you must have noticed. And usually they end up doing something really great. Those who are bound, they cannot do much. They are bound by their doership. Now you know that you are the actor, you can do any kind of role you want. You must have seen those people who say, I'm shy, I don't go out much. Or I need a group of 20 people around me to feel comfortable, something like this. And I'm this, I'm that. What is this? Bondage, isn't it? They cannot be anything else except this tiny little thing which does tiny little things. Those who are free from doership, there is no limit for them. You can be anything you want because you know that this is all mind and it will do exactly that which the impressions are telling it to do. So you can actually control the mind. You can control the actions of the mind. You can let go of the first thing that usually a seeker will do is let go of the negative behavior. The anger, fear, lust, pride, sloth, greed, whatever, this kind of totally useless things. You let go of them because now you have the control over the mind. You see, control over the mind comes not by doing, by not doing. It comes by not doing, by realizing that nobody is doing it. It is not bound. And then you can become anything you want. So this is what we do. First, we purify the mind. You just let go of the unnecessary. And then you enter the world with a role of your choice. So usually it is to do something good for others. What else can you do when you realize I am everything? You see, your selfishness becomes infinite. So everything is me. I need to do good for everything and everybody. So that's why there is this prayer which I say most of the time now because I've realized the significance of this prayer. And you know the Shanti mantra, the Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. When we say it 3 times, that let everybody be happy, let everybody be free of suffering, free of bondage, and let nobody suffer in all the dimensions, in all the times, and all creatures be happy and peaceful. So by saying this, repeating this, what are we doing? We are giving up our doership. We are giving up the selfishness, the individuality. Because in this prayer, I do not ask anything for me. You must have noticed. No me there. Give this to me, give that to me, make my life good. No, that is not the prayer. That is the ego worship. That is what people are doing, isn't it? And this prayer, it shows that there is no doer at all now. Now, the individual has taken up a role which is equal to the whole of the mind, whole of the universal mind. That is what the universal mind wants. It wants freedom from ignorance, suffering, and bondage. So that is the right direction, you see. Do that with full doership, with full responsibility. Because that is as good as not doing anything. Because it's not personal anymore. So I keep repeating that mantra nowadays. And it will be good practice if we start our conversation with that. You see, that will immediately remind you that I am nobody. In a good sense. That is your practice. That is your sadhana. Don't be attached to the doer. With full intensity, you do then. You do something which is for the good of all, not for the good of me. And that does not mean that I don't do anything for me. Because, you see, when you become wise, you do not leave your intelligence. Wisdom is on the top of intelligence. It's not abandoning the intelligence, isn't it? The only thing is you were doing everything very, very intelligently before, under the ignorance. Now you do everything intelligently under the wisdom. And there is a small shift. It's a very big shift, The big shift is from individual to the universal. It is so big. It's the biggest step that is possible. So you see, this small mantra or small prayer is very big actually. If you say it with full awareness, like what it really means to say that Shanti mantra or whatever it is called, if you understand the significance of it, that alone can liberate you. You don't need big lectures, you don't need books, you don't need a guru also. That is so powerful, it will liberate you. So I hope next time if this thought arises in your mind that, oh, doership is hard, probably now you have the correct sanskar to let go of that thought. Probably you will be reminded of these things. So you see, that is how we progress. We replace the old sanskar with the new sanskar, which is kind of more mind expanding. You become bigger every time, more universal. Yes, Ajay is quoting a very good quote. Ramesh Balsekar said the same. Do as if you are the doer. It is your free will, while knowing you are not doer. Yes, initially this can sound like nonsense. What you're saying, it does not make any sense. Don't be doer and then be doer. What is it? But this is a shortcut way of saying that which we just discussed. It will be very, very unnatural way to live as if you don't do anything, as if you're not responsible. Oh, I just killed 20 people, but yeah, just impressions. I'm not responsible. You can see where this is going. This is intelligence, isn't it? But same as madness. It is worse than ignorance now. So don't do that. You have to use your intelligence in the direction of the wisdom as directed by the director, you see. The director here is the wisdom. Wisdom is greater knowledge. Intelligence is the small knowledge. So yes, you will need to take up the role and get into the role very, very seriously. It is the most serious role possible, and direct your intelligence correctly in the right direction. If it is for the good of all, if it is for the benefit of the whole, then who cares? Who cares? There's doership, non-doership, karma, what? Who cares? The whole is doing something good for itself. That's all. Now, what is the use of all these theories? It's all nonsense. So initially when this teaching is given that there is no doer, there can be a lot of confusion. It is, I know this happened to me also. And like he said, it is very, very hard. But for me, it was very depressing actually. It was not hard. It is as if somebody pulled away the floor below your feet. What is this? I said, no doer. There is no meaning in whatever I do because nobody is doing. And all these desires are random accumulations. Ultimately, the consequences, they do not matter. Why am I alive? This is the question the mind will throw at you. The answer is very simple. Well, there is no you, so the actions are actions of the whole. So better start acting as if you are everything. This is the answer. And that will give you certainty among the sea of uncertainty. If the teaching is not total, then yes, it is very depressing. It is very sad to know that I'm not there. There is no doer. Everything that I did and everything that I wanted has no meaning at all. This can be really depressing. I was under depression for many, many months. And at that time, I had nobody to guide me. You see, I made the classic mistake of running after spiritual knowledge without the guidance, which many people do. And they get lost in such kind of nonsense. There is no doer and whatnot. So you need to get the complete teaching. And usually if you are seeking, you will get the answer. And the answer is this, that there is no doer, which simply means there is no individual doer. There is whole. Whole is doing and the individual is an instrument of action. That's all. Become a good instrument. Become the instrument of the whole. Assume it. Assume your responsibility seriously and let it be directed by this higher knowledge. Instead of, oh, I'm so small, I'm nobody. my actions are worthless. This is, not wisdom. This is not complete teaching. Some people, they blame Buddhism and Jainism and so on, and the non-dual philosophy as totally depressing, sad, nihilistic. But you see, that simply means that they have not taken the full teaching. They have not listened to the total message. The total message is much bigger than nothingness. It is much bigger than, oh, everything is empty and go home. No, there is a second step that everybody needs to take. You are empty, you are nothing, it's all okay. Now become something which is whole, which is big, which is infinite. Take the second step also. Otherwise, you will face these questions, you see, who is the doer, what should I do, and so on. So actually, when I say things like this, I also start with the same broken record that, yes, no doer, go home. So I know it is not really fruitful, but imagine giving the whole thing to a person who knows nothing. That is also useless. So first we break, then we make. This is the traditional way. You will need to break that which is old, and when the slate is totally clear, you form it into something that is new, that is bigger, better. So a spiritual evolution is a transformation, you must have heard. It is not becoming nothing. It is not becoming non-doer, non-this, non-self, and no. It is transformation. You remain what you are with the added wisdom on top of it. Transformation. For transformation to happen, the old must be destroyed. And that is what your guru is doing it. That is what we do here. All day we sit and destroy, isn't it? Hoping that something good will emerge out of this destruction. It is not really destruction, it is transformation. It looks like destruction. In some of the traditions, it is called the dark night of the soul. Because yes, it is dark, it is like night, it is like hopelessness. That's why I always say, do not go alone. Hold the hand of your guru, because the guru has gone through the dark night of the soul already. He can guide you, he can be the light. He can be the lighthouse that will show you the way. You can go alone. It will be difficult. That's all. If you like to do difficult things, and nobody can stop you. Do it. But take the inspiration from those who have done it. You will see that they are not nothing. They are not small. They have not disappeared. They have become the whole. The whole is so big that you cannot see them. It is so big. So there is sometimes this question that why do liberated people leave this world? Why don't they come back? Why do they leave us? And the answer is that it is a total wrong notion that they have left. You cannot see them. It doesn't mean that they are not here. Everybody who is liberated is right here, right now in the form of whole, and is already guiding you. That's why when you get liberated, this individual disappears. It becomes not nothing, it becomes the whole, which is equal to nothing and something at the same time, which is beyond mind, you see, but is right here, right now. You will remain as the whole for everybody. This is what sometimes I call it the guru field. The guru field is right here, right now. You have all the guidance right here, right now. This is also called grace. You seek and you will find. It is like this. Those who are seeking light, they will find the lighthouse. Those who are not, well, they will just remain wherever they are. It is a long journey for them, but they will also come out of it. So first become the whole, first become the light, and then other minds will become accessible to you. Without becoming the whole, it's not possible to guide anybody. So those who are real masters, they are talking from this eternal bliss consciousness. They are not talking as some trainer, coach. No, they are not doing that. You can learn the yoga, you can learn the practices, you can learn from a yoga trainer who has certificate of yoga. Nowadays I've seen, some institution, they hand over the certificate of, yoga in this kind. Okay, that's not bad. At least you have something. But you can learn the yoga from a certified trainer. That means that he is the one who is reliable. You will not break your back, or you're not going to break your breathing pattern or something forever. So go to a certified instructor. That is good. But a guru is the one who is talking from the real yogi position. You will need the guru. So I hope that will add another angle to Ajay's question. This is not all. Abandoning the doer is not the end of your path. It is the beginning of another path. Now become the doer from the greater point of view. See what happens. Let us know what happens. So thank you everyone. It's already 11 o'clock and everybody must be sleepy or wants to have their dinner. So next time I'll try to be in the daytime. Today something happened, there wasn't power cut, there was no sunlight, also no charge in my phone, nothing. So hopefully we'll meet with on the right time next Sunday, and I'll see you then. Thank you very much for attending today's meeting. Don't forget the Shanti Shlok, repeat the Shanti Shlok, see how powerful it is, very effective. Thank you very much. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Pure experiences.
You were listening to Pure Experiences by Tharun Pradhan.